Ladies and gentlemen of the crypto market, today has been a really interesting day. And I think everybody that's been paying attention knows why. But I've got to say that all the news that's been dropping today has left my jaw completely wide open. From some Ethereum coins absolutely popping off to, on the opposite side, more and more influencers. I'm talking about, it seems, everybody posting their own garbage meme coins to the crux of the day, the most important event we've had in a long time. And no, I'm not talking about the Ethereum ETFs. That's been important as well, but nothing too crazy just dropped. What dropped with Ethereum ETFs is mostly just more confirmations that next week could be the week we are going to see them come on in. No, what has been happening here has been building up for a long time. And no, I'm not talking about Coinbase slamming the SEC with a lawsuit. And no, I'm not talking about the government dumping more Bitcoin, even though all of that also happened over the past 24 hours. I'm talking about VanEck for the first time selling for a Solana ETF in the United States. So massive steps are being made, and I'm loving it. Especially because we're seeing so much negative news, left, right. Government of Germany selling massive amounts. United States government selling. Mt. Gox selling. All the institutions trying to sell. But finally, like I just said, we've been getting some more light in this darkness. Now, if we're talking about prices, yes, Solana did do quite good based solely on that news, as the price went up a few percent in a day. And that's pretty good, but in the grand scheme of things, Ethereum ecosystem coin like Maker did outperform by a significant margin, and if you just look through the list, it's not as if one of the most massive things just happened for Solana if we're just basing it off of price. But perhaps the implication is more so that Solana, as it stands, most likely is gonna get freed from the SEC just like Ethereum was. Because remember, the SEC kind of filed a lawsuit against almost any crypto out there, except for Bitcoin, but they did file it against Ethereum. Ever so recently, though, people have speculated that, well, since some filings got approved already, Ethereum spot ETFs are going to be coming in. And what did the SEC do? They withdrew their application of the law, I should call it, or they withdrew basically their lawsuit against Ethereum. What people are expecting is that Solana is now, in some cases, still under investigation. Perhaps, though, that is also going to get withdrawn. And perhaps this basically means, as VanEck has now done their research, that from here, many of the other filers are going to come in hot. And that is going to be the next big ETF instead of XRP. But perhaps they both come in a similar sort of fashion. Anyway, perhaps like this list here says, a couple of these DeFi coins, or coins I'd more so attribute to DeFi, are quite hot, or at least going to be quite hot. I remember a couple months ago, Pendo, Maker, they were all some of the best coins to get into. And one tool right now that I'm actually finding quite interesting and using more over the past little while is called Knowles. I think a lot of people don't know about it, but it's actually pretty juicy. And again, if this is something that you're new into, I always recommend starting with a knowledge hub, which luckily these guys also have over on their homepage in the app. Anyway, besides just checking your portfolio, which is one of the main functions I, for some reason, have, or swapping or earning, there's also a lease button. And I think, let me quickly go ahead and check that out here. It's also on the Twitter. Triple your holdings without tripling your risk. Again, if you're into DeFi, these type of tools, you just have to find, right? But if you're into the Cosmos ecosystem, I think this is one of the best ones to go for. I don't know any other website really that's nice for Cosmos. And if you're wondering how to get started, there's a little button on the top right. You can't perfectly see it, but it is over on the top right. Let me quickly show you. That says Connect Wallet. Just go ahead, press that button. It'll ask you which wallet you want to connect. I personally, in most of my tutorials, use Leap. You just press that button. It'll send you over and ask you, do you want to confirm or connect? You just press the little connect button, and now it pulls you in. We might have to quickly refresh. All right, and now over on the top right, you can see it says YouTube Wallet. I also quickly just put one Osmosis in to my Knowles wallet. Again, you don't have to think like, oh, you have to send them money. It's still, if you take a look here, inside your own wallet, just on Knowles' chain, so to speak. You can see I just put one Osmosis, and I just transferred it from Osmosis to Knowles. And then from here, we can start doing things like leasing, so just press the button. And again, I'm not saying you should be doing this. I'm just saying these are cool possibilities. This is I wish I knew about it earlier, or at least I wish I had more people to discuss with, which is why recently I've been more and more diving myself into partially NFT communities, because the last season I really skipped out on most of them, and more DeFi communities, because again, Knowing now what I know, I know that there's so much wasted opportunities by people not knowing the right tools and not experimenting enough when the market's not in a crazy hot phase. And literally right now, what I think a lot of people should be doing is just going around experimenting with all these different things, because right now, like I just said, Solana ETFs are coming up, sure, but it's just the start of a way bigger story, a way bigger narrative. Right now, we're still very, I'm going to call it very little, or at least have made little progress into the general bull market trend. I've explained before, I personally believe we have 70 weeks of accumulation, 70 weeks of hard bull market, and then 50 weeks of downtime. It happened like that for the last couple of cycles, right? So this time around, we've had those 70 weeks in somewhere in 2022. I think actually beginning 2023, if we count 70 weeks back. It's on the edge, maybe December or something of 2022. I don't remember exactly if it's 79 weeks or 72, I don't remember. And I don't know how far into the year we are right now, like 26 weeks. You understand the picture. If we look back, that first accumulation phase is now over. The halving has now happened. Usually 20 weeks or whatever after the halving, something like that, maybe 25 weeks, we start seeing the prices go crazy. We just had the halving in April. We're only like 2-3 months after that. We still have actually got a couple months before usually Bitcoin hits its first all-time high. And that's what we said earlier. Probably a little bit of a slower summer, allowing people to catch up, get the strategies in place. And then most likely after the summer, perhaps the end of Q3, beginning of Q4, things are going to start going crazy. Hey, I'm no future teller. It could be that it actually starts earlier or starts slightly later. But we all know that the general trend of where will we be over the next, around, let's say 70 weeks or so, we all think it's probably going to be significantly upwards. One of my friends said, man, you should probably start selling something in 2025. And I still hold quite dear to that right now is just the time for buying. The cycle is still in the midst. We're not in the bear market just quite yet. We're only getting started, or at least we're still on that way up. It's not slowly crumbling down. It's just a pause before things get even brighter than they are today. And again, like I said, this is time where people have to start anticipating what ETF do we expect to happen or come up next. How do we prepare for that? How do we make the most amount of money off of it? I expect that because one has now been filed, many ETFs will be filed for Solana. And I believe that after the Ethereum one comes in, Solana will not be too much afterwards. Study how Ethereum is going to operate. I think Ethereum, as the ETF rolls on in, will pull a similar thing to Bitcoin, where it's slowly trending up and all of a sudden it's going to go significantly harder, getting that Ethereum versus Bitcoin dominance up, and actually Ethereum getting more and more gains than Bitcoin, like it's done over the past week or so as we get closer and closer to an ETF. I believe a similar thing will happen to Solana, though, as again, it's a logical conclusion or follow-up in a bull market. Bitcoin first, Ethereum second, big altcoins afterwards, smaller altcoins after that. So as Bitcoin has gone, now Ethereum, then afterwards, maybe in a few months after it, Solana will, and all of a sudden it's like in layers. Anyway, that is personally what I'm anticipating and focusing on. Still believe though that right now we are in a really, really good spot. It's really chill still, but that means we've got more time to accumulate and prepare ourselves for the crazy bull market. And that's about it.